Continuing on the trend of transition metals, in MCQ 19, we're asked to see which of the following observation is actually that of a ligand exchange by itself. A very simple way to take a look at ligand exchange is to remember that the oxidation state of the transition metal in question over here is the same before and after the ligand exchange. So if it actually changes and there's actually a redox reaction, it is not a ligand exchange. So for the case of A, we have copper 2 chloride, and at the end of the reaction, it became CuCl2 with a negative charge over here. So writing off the oxidation state, copper is initially a +2, and eventually copper became an oxidation state of +1, showing that there is actually a change in your oxidation state, and A should not have been a ligand exchange. Now for the case of B, I have copper 2 sulfate added to zinc powder, and the solution eventually became colorless and zinc 2 sulfate was actually being made. Now this is seen off more as a displacement reaction because the incoming zinc is actually considered to be more reactive than copper. So copper is actually displaced out, and writing out the oxidation state, starting off with a +2, but eventually as elemental copper, it became 0. This is actually a redox reaction, a reduction reaction to be specific. And since the oxidation state actually changed, B is not a ligand exchange process. Now for the case of C, we have chromium 3 sulfate. So that means that initially I'm dealing with a Cr2SO4 3. So chromium has an oxidation state of +3 initially, and at the end of this heating reaction, we're going to generate a chromium complex cation, which consists of 5 water ligand, as well as a single sulfate ligand, and the overall charge is actually that of positive. So we all know that sulfate holds a -2 oxidation state. Water is 0 by itself, and in order to achieve a positive charge over here, chromium must have still maintained its +3 oxidation state. So C for now seems to be a ligand exchange because the oxidation state did not change at all. Now for option D, iron 2 ions that was added to a purple manganate ion eventually ends off being the formation of an iron 3 ion. This is obvious to see that iron has actually increased its oxidation state from a +2 to a +3. So this is also not a ligand exchange. So the correct answer for this question here is C, because the oxidation state of chromium is actually maintained at a +3 at the end of the reaction.